Oscar Carbonell joins us, and boy, oh boy, his first of all, his drawings, because I'm so into that. But he did the illustrations for his book. The book has a great message, and it's called The Mascot and the Mouse. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, any place where books are sold. So he joins us here on Author's Corner with me, Kate Delaney on America Tonight. Oscar, wow. I have to say, I'm impressed. You did both. You come up with the words, you come up with the illustrations. So, how did you decide you were going to write this book? What made you decide to do it?
Well, I was in a pretty what really made me kind of determined me to do it and decide to do it was basically I was at a kind of a bleak point in my life about roughly 5 years ago, and it really it came on the heels of me kind of scrapping one other project, another type of uh, book project that I had in mind. I scrapped it, and I was just kind of like thinking, okay, you know what? I got nothing else in me. Like I felt kind of defeated, kind of I put myself down, and I wasn't in a good mindset. I wasn't in a good place. And it got like really, yeah, it didn't get good. It wasn't really good. It wasn't a good experience. But then I remembered talking with my neighbor about it or anything, and then I told her about other past projects I had done, whether it was a short story or some type of novel or some type of non-fictional type of textual book or work or paper, whatever. And she told me like, oh, why don't you try to make something out of all those failed or scrapped works that you never put to par or never got published or just put away for good. And I thought about it. I'm like, okay, fine. And so I started touching upon some of the concepts and ideas that I had in previous books that I had in tale or short stories I had in mind. And I just decided, okay, I'll amalgamate it all together and kind of just, stuff it together into a blender, so to speak, and then try to, come out with something. And it also came on the heels of another idea. Long story short, I remember one time, it's like 2018 in the fall. I remember watching. I was at home. I was watching a short film that was stop motion, created by a Polish Russian uh, film a filmmaker and anything. And I was just like, oh, what's this? Because I heard about it from some other source, and I remember watching it, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. And it's a childish story, but it's with stop motion figures and characters and so forth. And it got me thinking. I'm just like, wait a minute, this is an interesting idea. Like, what if I took this kind of concept and just expanded upon it? And so that was definitely an idea I always had in mind. And so I decided to amalgamate that with all the other failed scrapped ideas that I had that I never did or published. So I just decided to amalgamate that and make that the foundation of the overall idea behind the story. And so I just ran with it from there. I just decided, okay, this has to be a story that's, it's a short story I had in mind. But then I'm like, but this can't be turned into a book. So I'm like, what else could I do? And then it just really occurred to me, obviously. And I'm just like, this should be a children's story. And I'm not one for telling childish stories. I wouldn't call myself a whimsical or childish type of individual at all, despite the ironic fact that I did do a children's book. But I just decided, let me try to do something that is a children's book. But the idea, sorry for stuttering, but the idea for it was to basically try to use messaging symbolism, as I talked to you before about it, and overall a kind of revolving kind of story about cycles and perpetual continuity and sequential type of interlinked, metaphorically and literally interlinked story plots that had something to do with one another. But whether they did or they didn't, that's for the reader or the child or the parent that's reading the story to their children to interpret for themselves.
And you
So,
talk a lot about dreams, which I love. Even in the beginning, you say in taking it's wonderful that advice you got and the fact that you mixed it all up and it came out to be this story,
mhm,
which I think was prophetic and should have happened. You say one late afternoon, right in the beginning, while napping in my bed, I had one of the most curious and strange dreams. And you go on to talk about this mouse that was nowhere to be seen, hidden away from the world, like we think of a mouse would be, that they're
mhm,
scared and shy because when we see them, it's like, whoa, the lights go on, or all of a sudden they're there. And then you say, someone comes along, one day, someone would come along and befriend the timid mouse. I love it. So, this was the theme that was part of the blender that came out because dreams are very big to you. And I think dreamers make the world. And you say this is a book about stories which occur in dreams within dreams. And that's how this really started to take shape, right?
mhm. Yes, the concept was that's one of the aspects of the idea behind the book. That's definitely a pivotal one. It's not the only one, but it's a pivotal one, where the concept of dreams, visions, and kind of internal insights into an individual can affect the external ramifications of our physical actual reality. Because I've spoken to you to you this about before. I told sorry for stuttering. I spoke to you about this before, and I'm just like, the idea is where in our actions, it all starts from within. Everything that's external always starts from the internal, and everything what is theory becomes practice. There's a cause and effect to everything that we do and to everything that we indirectly affect. So it's in essence, it's like a web. And every action that we take from minuscule to grandiose or from micro to macro, there is a cause and effect, a cause effectuality of how things are affected. And so dreams, going back to the dream concept, is that dreams, you mentioned how dreamers make the world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dreamers make but I would argue that they do more than just make the world. I believe that in a sense, dreamers or people who dream or envision things are there's more to what's happening than just the dreamers make the world and so forth. Not trying to lessen that quote. It's just that there's something bigger going on at hand because it's not just one incident or two or a few. It's many instances of different people that have no connection to one another that experience similar things to one another. There's this universal causality that this phenomenon that affects people to a point where it's uh, it becomes questionable to wonder like, wait a minute, is this an individual thing? Is this just a spark of genius? Is this like a one in a million type of type of phenomenon between an individual or two or a few individuals, or is there something bigger happening here? There's a bigger picture.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think you explored that, or you certainly get that after reading the book. What do you hope anybody listening to us, they say, wow, this will be a great book. I could get this as a present. I could read this myself. I could pass it on. What do you hope somebody takes away from reading your book?
I hope that someone or some people, if not all, take away the idea of the concept and the idea rather than the story itself. I mean, the story matters, sure, but at the end of the day, the story is only there to propagate the idea, to give the idea, to instill the idea or the ideas. So, what I hope is that people get the overall idea and concept and the overall just the foundational type of philosophy about it, and they take with it the Enlightenment. They take it with them and they basically practice with it. So in a sense, it goes back to like my idea of what becomes theory becomes practice. So in a sense, it all starts from somewhere. So just propagating and kind of infecting people with the idea.
Perfect. Perfect place to end this. You're right. It's the idea, and it's where do you take that from there? Absolutely. Oscar Carbonell, what a book. The Mascot and the Mouse. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Visit us at www.greatwritersmedia.com. Email us at info@greatwritersmedia.com or call us at +1 877 556 04